who beat Bomberman Ovidiu Tiberiu on points, who was a bronze medalist in the World Championships last year. So he has terrific pedigree. Up against this fellow Jefferi Matebula from South Africa. Both these had fights in the opening round. He beat Nuruddin Mejahoud of Algeria, did Matebula, 10-5. Second round then. But Sаттarhanoff goes in, I guess, as the favourite.
Well, you say that, Simon, but Matebula actually came and beat a fancied Algerian in his first bout, Mejahoud, and it was a bit of a surprise to me, to be honest with you. But, you know, that's the way it turned out. I wasn't particularly impressed with the Kazakhstan in his first bout, and I've actually got the South African, surprisingly, tipped him to go through to the next round, but we'll have to wait and see. He's quite tall and rangy. In fact, they both are, aren't they?
They are.
One thing, of course, we mustn't mention, Simon, is the fantastic weather we're having here, you know, compared to Europe, because it winds them up.
Yes, you are allowed to be jealous. Matebula with the gloves held high, almost a peekaboo defence. Sаттarhanoff doing the early stalking here.
And that peekaboo defence has been a very, very effective defence for an awful lot of these boxers, because as you know, Si, the punches that judges will pick up are the straight rights, and if you can't land on that little area called the face, then you've had it. You know, you're not going to pick up points.
Although there is a move, you think, that the body shots are being called occasionally, whether they weren't at all before.
And just imagine how difficult the qualification would have been if you were boxing for the Soviet Union in the old days, because you had all of those satellite countries now that are independent.
Yeah.
You know, if you were the Russian champion, you come through hell and high water to get that far. And that's why they were so good. Of course, the Russians, still good, but not what they used to be.
A bit like you, really. But you're still good, Steve.
Well, at the end of a 3-0 round there for the Kazakhstani, rather surprisingly, not a single point on the board for Matebula.
Sattarhanoff not really showing us the kind of form that got him that terrific win against Tiberiu, but he is 3 points in front.
Of course, the winner of this match will face the winner of the Brazilian against the Turk, Paliani, in the next round, and then the winner of that one will take on the winner of the Argentinian against the Moroccan. So actually, there's some still pretty tasty fights at the top end of this draw.
There are.
At the bottom end of the draw, though, let's just get your juices flowing. We've got the Cuban, and we've also got the reigning Olympic champion from Thailand, Somluck Kamsing,
who is a legend.
Oh. A legend, even. He's fantastic, and I'll tell you what, this crowd, which will be flooded with Thais when he boxes, are fantastic. They love him.
This featherweight division, one of the most competitive of all.
Indeed, yes. The biggest disappointment so far has been the light welterweights. But as you rightly said, you don't get any bad boxers, I don't think, at this level. Not in this division anyway, but as I say, the light welters being the exception.
Matebula trying to do more of the forcing, but still to register a single point.
And of course, you've had the opportunity, Simon, for the first week of going around to lots of different sports here. How do you think the boxing compares to other things you've seen?
Terrific. I think the Aussie crowd, they love a scrap, we know that. The Thais, the Koreans, the other nations make it a really lively, vibrant hall. I've been practically everywhere, I think, and I think this match is up. There's about, 5,000 here now. There'll be about 9,000 for the semis and finals. They're going to extend the hall.
That's right, yes, they're going to take down that wall on our left-hand side there. And tickets, of course, for the finals, believe it or not, folks, at home, $355. That's about 30 quid in English money. The way the dollar is going at the moment, it will be.
Not quite. Yeah, I mean, it actually registers, what is that? It's about 120 quid, something like that.
A lot of money. And a guy, a pal of mine, Steve Sidey, who emailed me recently, he worked it out. It costs you almost 2,000 quid if you wanted to go to every boxing session. So Millionaires Row, eh?
It is. Not up here, though.
No. Not a great deal to talk about in this second round so far, of course, as far as this match is concerned. But as you can see there, the Kazakhstani's got a 6-point lead now. And Matebula's struggling, isn't he? He's out of his depth.
He's just off the pace. He's still forcing, still doing all he can, but still to register. And Sаттarhanov now with an 8-point lead. And he looks unstoppable, does the Kazakhstan. But you have to feel for Matebula, as you say, he is being beaten, and beaten fairly comprehensively. And yet he probably feels, if he could see that score, and he'll know it pretty shortly, that he is a mile behind, he might wonder. But there's no ill justice in that.
Quite a bit of replay here from one of the lowlights of round 2. Yes, you know, quite obviously Matebula here, this South African well out of his depth. And Bekzat Sаттarhkanov from Kazakhstan, he's just 20 years of age. And silver medalist in last year's Asian Championships. And I would imagine the Asian Championships side to be pretty competitive,
yes.
Wouldn't you?
Yes. The Asians...
They love a fight, don't they?
They do. They're not doing too well at these Olympics, competitors from Asia, but in the boxing, that's where they hope to score.
Indeed. And you mentioned the Australians, of course, earlier. They're not doing too well either. They're always very game, but they're not getting any favours here whatsoever. And... it's been a shame, really, for the Aussie crowd have taken their losses pretty well, I must admit.
But, of course, the swimmers have more than made up for it.
Oh, yeah.
So good to see Matebula at last getting it scoring going, but still trailing by the 8 points. And they've told, obviously, Matebula that he's getting further and further behind. He has to be more aggressive. Ooh, didn't score. And you wonder why. And a 10-point margin now.
Oh, that's a decent shot from Matebula. That one did score. Long left hook.
Yeah, good shots. He measures him well, doesn't he, Sаттarhkanov?
Indeed. Any chance, do you think, of getting to the magic 15-point mark?
Every chance.
It goes to 17-2, of course. This one is over. Don't forget, if you aren't near a television set, but at work later on today, you can always log on to Eurosport.com to find out the latest results in all the sports, and even post questions to the commentators, and, of course, some sportsmen, I believe, Simon.
Exactly, yes. The questions will be filtered through to the athletes, and we hope for responses from them. But you can be sure of a response from Mr. Holdsworth and myself.
No, I'm too busy.
I won't ask. Our website, just to repeat that, Eurosport.com. And we'll appreciate any advice you might have for Steve, as long as it's not libelous.
13-2 then. Not looking good, is it, for Matebula?
Matebula, not short of aggression, giving it everything he can, but he just hasn't got the extra ingredient to hold this back. Sаттarhkanov endorsing the form that he had in the opening round when he took out Bobimat Ovidiu Tiberiu of Romania, bronze medalist in the World Championships last year.
Just considering, you know, Ramazan Paliani in his first match against Hyder Ali from Pakistan. I mean, Paliani looked poor. He won by a single point. If he turns in that kind of performance against Simon, he's going to be out of this game, no doubt about that. And it's going to be to someone, well, it will be to Sаттarhkanov, who he will face next if he gets through his next bout against the Brazilian. So Still quite a lot of incentive, I think, for the odd wild card in this top half of the draw. But the Argentinian looking good at the moment.
Final round then. And, well, it goes without saying, Matebula needs a stoppage here. And he doesn't look to have the firepower to do it. Indeed, he wouldn't bet against a stoppage for Sаттarhkanov.
Get 4 more points to do it. Oh, good work. Good work.
Yes. Matebula roaring forward. Yes, everything but the kitchen sink going in now. Diving in a little bit, but giving it everything he's got. Good to see. Sаттarhkanov can sit on his lead and look for the opening, and there may well be openings as Matebula launches at him. Well, you can't fault him for work rate, can you?
No, you can't. I mean, it's rough though, and you know he just doesn't have the ability. And you know, we were chatting earlier about the qualification process, and I said, well, you know, there's been a few very poor boxers in the games, and you wonder how they get through. But you know, if you're the best in your area, I mean, what can you say?
No. And it's part of the governing body and the Olympics to widen the sport as much as you can, and to bring on the less developed boxing nations.
But it worries me to find the Americans now have a qualification system. The Europeans is very, very strong. And yet you get some pretty poor Africans and Asians coming through that shouldn't really be here. But good luck to them when they do get here. But as we can see, Matebula is going to go home. But you know what he can say, which is more than what we can say, somebody he actually won a bout in the Olympic Games.
And he's giving it his all in his second, up against a class performer in Sаттarhkanov.
And Sattarhkanov will look better against somebody else. Probably Paliani.
Yeah, I think you're right. He hasn't brought the best out of him, has he, Matebula?
16-5 then.
Comprehensive win. Games are over, but no disgrace. So Sattarhkanov will be through to meet either Paliani of Turkey or Dos Santos Pereira from Brazil. That fight is coming up very shortly.